Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you a weekly flesh and blood market update. Today we have some interesting items to discuss. It's a mostly quiet market, but as you can see, I've highlighted a few particular boxes here and here that I want to point out because they're being sneaky, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of their sneaky behavior. So let's jump into it. We'll go through the boxes, the charts. I will not be going through the cards. Unfortunately, TCG Player is down for maintenance. It just happened at the one opportunity I have to record today. So we just have to deal with it. Sorry about that. Maintenance. So I should do Tommy's, what was Tommy's he did like the little static technical difficulty screen. So I should throw up there during the card section. Anyways, let's jump in. So WTR Unlimited boxes only down 2.3%, but it's been ticking down steadily for a while now. We did have the spike up and this dip down to 81. I wanted to note that we're starting to get into a territory, and this is mostly true for ARC. This is where I noticed it, but it's starting to happen for both WTR boxes and cases as well. Is that this is a low point in the history. We're getting to basically last March as far as equivalents, right? Not exactly, but here's February for WTR, and here's February/March range. I think March is the match on this one because it lasted a little bit longer. Yeah, for ARC. So this is a 6-month differential. What has happened? We've had a big hump. You'll see it on the chart. Big hump over a 6-month period. Before that, this was kind of the new area that was being tested, and you'll see. Look how quickly it declines. Just a few months earlier, $55, and then if we go a little bit further back for ARC, because it started the earliest, if you recall, we were in that $90 range, $80 range. I don't know if we're going to revisit these. It depends on how long this cooling cycle lasts, and at this point I'm not 100% sure what the full drivers will be. It's partially summer doldrums, we always get that. I do have some concerns that the student loan repayment resuming is going to impact TCGs in particular as a industry, and that may cause further cooling. We won't know that until it starts and a few months after, honestly. But we should watch the data, keep an eye on it, and see how that is. But point being, we're getting back to levels that we haven't seen in 6 months on several products, and they're sneaking down there. They're not going in dramatic dumps, right? Because it's a slow market tick of things aren't selling so slowly. The price keeps getting reduced, and probably 2 or 3 vendors going, make me the lowest price. No, I'm the lowest price. No, I'm the lowest price. And it's going down by $1 or whatever. For a while, so it's a slow tick down. I wanted to point it out because I did notice it was when this hit 119, because we've been in the 120s forever, and I was like, whoa, 119, when was the last time we saw that? And I looked over, and then I was like, oh wait, this is happening on a bunch of them. So even though the past 3 weeks are technically quiet, not on the heat chart, just wanted to let you guys know that these 4 WTR cases and boxes, ARC cases and boxes are at a point where, and this is unlimited, are at a point where they are declining back to the out of supply jump. So it's not there yet, but it's something I want us to keep an eye on. If we get down to sub 100 on ARC, we'll know that the market has been impacted from a macro standpoint. It's not just a slump and a cooling at this stage. I don't know if we will get there, and there's a reason to believe we won't. Because we saw the same thing we were talking about this last week, this ARC, how this is getting down to really good low levels. It actually sold a box below this level at 16 something. I would show you, but I can't because TCG Player. Sold on the 24th of August. I think it was $16.91. I could be wrong on that price. You can check it yourself. But now we're back up. Is that real? I don't know. There's a lot less of the first edition boxes, etc. So point being, let's keep an eye on this. The supply is diminishing. It's definitely a thing that's happening. We are summer doldrums. That's definitely a thing that's happening. And there is some macroeconomic trends that may come into play in the last quarter of this year that may put further pressure on it, which, as you know, that is the buying opportunities, that give you the best return. When everyone else is afraid, you get greedy. When everyone else is greedy, you get afraid. That's the way to handle most markets. And that's what we're seeing. We're starting to see the slow down tick, and we'll reach a point where people get afraid, right? I don't think we're there yet. We're not at panic mode. People aren't dumping. There's no fire sales. But I do think that if we go another 2 months and continue to see declines, at some point it breaks and people start fleeing, right? They panic, and that's a great buying opportunity. So let's see how it plays out. But just noticing that 119 on an ARC box, I was like, wow, I haven't seen that in a while. How long? And I noticed that several things have been ticking down pretty quietly. A little stealthy tick here on these unlimited. Nothing is happening. So let's keep an eye on it. All right, moving on. WTR boxes are down 5.47% to 3,300 from 3,491. Not a huge deal. Again, same thing. We're going to keep an eye on this. This is a leaking down situation too. It's a little bit more dramatic because the price was a little bit more inflated. I think we just watch the charts, watch what happens here. Talking about ARC, it did recover from its previous dump. 1791 is what we recorded. It did sell at 16 something, I don't recall, and then jump back up to the next highest, which is back at 1900. I suspect as we hit these price points that are kind of the not record low, but like the last deal, the good low from before, we'll see buy-ups of these first edition boxes. Crew, speaking of, we were talking about this last week, how it's not really close. This is just reversion to the mean from this 800 price. It's not really close to its lows. We'll look at the chart, but its lows were quite some time ago. And so it's one of those things that this has some room to fall because it spiked like crazy out of nowhere. And now it's not necessary for that price. So it's reverting to the mean and probably will dip lower and follow the same pattern as these. It just has a lot further to go back to that point. So anyways, down 10.77 to 489 from 548, pretty big drop, and we'll see how that goes in the next couple of weeks. Again, I don't think we're at our low yet. Actually, let's just skim over real quick. 489. Yeah, March. That was the last time we hit these prices. So same thing, actually. It's following the same as Unlimited. I didn't realize that. That's interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that in the future. Dusk Till Dawn is up 10.13% to 87 from 79. Not a big deal. It was there, a couple months ago. No, a month ago, really. A month and a half ago at this point. Yeah, I mean, this is the range for new sets. This is normal. Supply's not on the shelf. People buy a bunch, gets back on the shelf, blah, blah, blah. It's a box. It's not cases, right? This isn't stores shipping and stuff. This is stores cracking their case to resupply. Maybe being a little hesitant on it because things aren't selling as fast as they want or whatever. It's just one of those things where you see the market volatility on a new release, and this is part of it. Moving on, Tales of Aria down 11.11% to 240 from 270. Tales has always been a very odd product. We've seen it bounce all over the place. So this is still within range. I believe it's a low, 240. Yeah, that is we haven't seen that in a while. Let's see. Yeah, that is pretty low actually. Yeah, 250 back here in February. Okay, never mind. I lied. That's actually really low for Tales. Well, you might have a discount there if you want one. Tales of Aria First Edition. We do know there's a lot that was printed. I believe we have the print numbers on that, on the first edition. But we have the ton of Unlimited, etc., etc. So, a little discount. If you want to grab it, you need some Tales. I was thinking it was just a reversion to the mean from this jump, but honestly, that's a really low. Maybe it overcorrected, rubber band theory. It shoots up and then it drops back down really heavily, and this is just an overcorrection, so it'll probably come back to this price in the near future. I did double check that is with shipping and everything, so okay, interesting. All right, let's jump into the charts. We'll go through a few of them, not everything that didn't have any real action, but I did want to point out these first ones. Like, see, you can see here, like, there hasn't been anything in a while this low. That's not true for the boxes just because of this recent dip, but before that, same thing. So once we hit this price and drop below it, we're again in territory that hasn't been seen since like January, February, March, depending on which product we're talking about. And the same is true under the ARC guys here. We have the same thing that we're seeing here. Same situation. Crew, less true. As you can see, there was a low here on the boxes. I mean the cases, and then on the boxes we've had several dips to this level, so not too crazy, not that out of control. I think everything else was normal. So this is the declining back to some previous level thing. Here's Mon by comparison. Like we've had several lows in the recent memory. So we're at a point there where it's kind of like stabilized in a channel between a high that it can get to and a low that it drops to when there's too much supply. So that's more of a stable setting, and the range is pretty small, basically, 52 to 62 kind of dollars. It's very different than what we're seeing with these other ones that are just on a steady decline. So thought that was interesting and wanted to point it out. All right, moving on to first edition, WTR cases and boxes, always the same, not really doing anything important. We're still keeping an eye on this 3200 level for WTR boxes. ARC did the drop and rise. We were talking about this. This is a little quicker than I wanted. I was hoping for a slow decline and a steady line at the bottom for a while before coming back up. And because it did sell, because it did sell below that, it's one of those things where I feel like that made the market correct quicker than I would have expected. So I'm going to hold off for a while, especially with this future doldrums student loan thing happening that I wanted to keep an eye on. So let's go on to what else was on the heat map for first. Crew was as well. Yeah, this is just reversion. Yeah, we're back to these levels. We're just hitting. We did go a little bit below. It's worth keeping an eye on that, see if it overcorrects. Yeah, the cases aren't really moving with it, though, so that's interesting. That leaves a huge premium open. So that really was a interesting ARB opportunity at that point, huh? It doesn't happen that often. I don't know if it was worth the money, but it was an interesting situation to see that that disjointedness between the cases and the boxes. And then on the heat map, what is it? Dust Till Dawn and Tales of Aria. Let's go to Tales of Aria first. Our goofy chart. Hump. This is a classic dead cat bounce. Continued decline. Yes, that's a thing in finance. I apologize if that offends you. It's literally what it's called. It's when it hits resistance, like previous lows, which it's close to, jumps back up on exuberance, people thinking it hit the bottom, and then really the market still had a lot more downtrend to it. We are looking at that for this. And yeah, the boxes are just kind of following that. And then Dust Till Dawn. Let's take a quick look. Not much to really. Yeah, that's errant. So you do have an ARB opportunity, right? So yeah, but it's like it's less than $10, so it's not really. So yeah, I mean, I think this is just release volatility. I'm actually kind of surprised. I don't think this will hold. I think this will come back down almost immediately. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's cooler stuff in here than I know, and there's reasons. But you know what could cause it? That would make it happen if there was a much better showing of Prism, Levia, or is that it? Is that the main heroes? I guess Vincent could be a driver if Vincent showed up pretty good to nationals, etc. Yeah, if they basically held their own or fit well into what the meta is going to evolve into based on what happened at nationals, then these could end up holding up and being there. I mean, we did get a Briar LL, which does change the dynamics of the meta. I don't know what she suppressed that may have been in the set. Let me know in the comments if you do know. That is interesting. Oh yeah, and shout out to our follower, viewer, etc., who gave me the code for Evo. Bright Lights is Evo apparently. So just so you guys know that now I know. Evo it is. So here we go. Anyways, that's it for today. Yeah, sorry about no cards and no TCG player stuff. It's just on maintenance right now, so I can't do it. And this is my time to record before I go to a very busy work day. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, have a good one.